Instructional video number 5, trigger placement and trigger control. I believe that your finger placement on your trigger, along with a smooth and steady trigger pull, will ensure a steady hand and maintaining a great sight picture so you can hit your intended target downrange. In all my years as a firearms instructor, I found that the majority of my students have the biggest problem with finger placement and trigger control. So why is it essential that you do this properly? Well, it's essential because if you do not have a good finger placement and a steady trigger pull, then you will not hit your intended target. So where do you need to place your finger on the trigger to make sure that it's proper so you can have the proper trigger pull? Well, if you look at my pointy finger here, the very center of the tip of my finger is where you want to place it on the trigger. So if you see my trigger, first of all, you get your good grip. And this is one of the only times during these instruction videos where I want you to place your finger in the trigger guard. So I have my finger in the trigger guard, and my finger, the fatty part of the finger, is on the center of the trigger. When I do lift up my gun and I do point it, what I do then is I pull back straight, nice and smooth until it moves. What I mean by anticipation, when I talk of anticipation, if you can see in the video, I am pulling the trigger back smoothly, but all of a sudden I'm anticipating a recoil. So what I do is I move. The gun and the bullet do not go straight when I move in such a way. Therefore, I have to maintain it smooth and deliberate throughout the full trigger pull. The only movement I should have is when the gun moves me from the recoil. If you see the chart on the right hand side, the first finger placement you see, that is wrong. That is a common incorrect contact that will cause poor accuracy, and believe it or not, it will cause you, because of your finger placement, to have a harder trigger pull. The second finger on or in the center is your correct contact point for a semi-automatic firearm. The third finger is what they call the old style. It's also most commonly used with a revolver, since the revolver, in most revolvers I should say, the trigger pull is a little harder. Now when I talk about trigger pull, as I stated earlier, it needs to be smooth, deliberate, continuous. You must control your breathing, and then there must be something what we call a surprise bang. What does smooth and deliberate and continuous mean? That's pretty much lumped in together. Once you get your sight picture, what I want you to do is start your trigger pull. Once you start, make sure you continue all the way through and be deliberate in doing so. Control breathing. What controlled breathing is if you have ever lifted weights, you know that as you lift a weight down, you're breathing in. You are exhaling to push the weight up. Same thing with using your firearm. Controlled breathing is this. As you're pulling the trigger back, you're inhaling. As you pull the trigger all the way through and it goes off, you exhale. Continue with the controlled breathing allows you to stay calmer. And if you can stay calmer, that means you will have a smooth, deliberate, and continuous trigger pull. Now, what does the term surprise bang mean? Surprise bang means that you're pulling the trigger of your gun and that it goes off before you realize it. You have no opportunity to move before the gun goes off, and you're surprised by the bang. If that happens, I guarantee you that if you have the proper sight picture, that you will hit your intended target.